Hi, I'm PJ Feinstein, editor of Washington Family Magazine, and today I'm talking to Liz Heilbronner, the director of Camp Horizons. Hi, Liz. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, PJ?
I'm good, thanks. Why don't you tell our readers a little bit about your background?
For sure. So I'm originally from Charlottesville, Virginia, which is just about an hour away from where we are in Harrisonburg. And I actually started going to Camp Horizons, where I'm now the director, as you mentioned, when I was about 7 years old. My parents were looking for a sleepaway camp and decided that, we didn't want to send her too far away, but wanted her to feel like she had some independence. So I started going when I was 7. I worked my way up as a counselor and a CIT. And then when I finished my graduate degree in counseling through the University of Virginia, I knew that I wanted to work with children in some way, shape, or form. And I did a year at a therapeutic boarding school in Charlottesville before then making the transition over to Camp Horizons in 2016. And then in 2019 took over as the director. We've been around since 1983. So this is our 39th summer, and we're kind of just a camp for anyone and everyone. We want kids to feel like they can try new things when they hear that they can make friends from other cities, other states, even other countries, and
hmm
just really gain that independence and have a fantastic summer experience.
hmm So I went to sleepaway camp when I was little, and I started going at age 10. Um, so 7 seems kind of young to me. I have a 7-year-old myself. What's the typical age of a first-time camper?
It really depends if they're staying for 1 week or for 2 weeks. If they're
hmm
a 1 week camper, it's usually that 7, 8, 9. But if they're a 2 week, it can be really anywhere. You can have some of those 7 year olds. We start at age 6 actually. So
Oh,
we do have
wow.
some 6 year olds that come to camp. There's not really a specific age that's best to start summer camp. I think it's whenever you and your camper think that they're ready. And
hmm
if they've ever done, like an overnight at a friend's house or at a relative's, that's a great way to kind of test the waters and see, if they could handle being away for a week or so.
That was my next question about how parents can tell if their kids are ready, because I know some kids are probably just really excited at the idea of it, but maybe aren't quite mature enough to, do certain things by themselves. I mean, are there some sort of minimum requirements that a child should be able to do, before they go to sleepaway camp?
We just say as long as you're 6 or older, you can come to camp. The way that we set up our cabins, each cabin will have two counselors in it. And especially if you're with those younger campers, you know that your role is going to be more like a parent than necessarily a mentor or a role model. But we teach our staff that you might need to help tie your kids' shoes, and you might need
hmm
to put the toothpaste on the toothbrush for them, and that's not a problem. We find that our 6 year olds really do flourish because they get a little more independence than they've probably ever gotten before.
hmm
But there's no minimum age. It's, whenever you're ready. And more often than not, the kids are ready before the parents are ready.
Right. I think that I would be concerned about homesickness. I'd be worried that my child would just be miserable without me. Um, but is that more, how common is homesickness, and does it last as long as maybe parents worry that it will?
So it is common with kids in their first time. And, even our staff members who are coming from across the world, they sometimes feel a little homesickness at first. We do a training on it during staff training to really talk about what it looks like and how to treat it. And I'm
hmm
sure that many other summer camps do this as well. But we find that the time that kids are the most homesick are it's the first 24 hours or so, because suddenly they've been dropped off and they're in a new place, and going to bed that first night is a little difficult. And so we
hmm
usually see it on that opening Sunday, but by Monday evening they've had a full day of activities. They've been able to receive mail. They've gotten an ice cream from our general store during free swim. So by the time it's ready for them to go to bed on Monday, they're usually pretty fine. We do a pretty in-depth protocol with our training. So like I said earlier, each cabin has two counselors in it. And then within a cabin, within a village, you have a head counselor. And so
hmm
that head counselor is also trained for, if anything is a little more severe, it's more than just, I'm upset, I'm missing home. And then on top of that, we have a program director. And so there's a lot of different people who can help talk with the camper and kind of see what we can do. And then, sometimes we will call the family and say, hey, your camper's feeling a little homesick. What are some things that you've done at home that help with this? Or, are there
Oh,
any
yeah.
books or stories that you recommend?
Hmm.
We actually don't encourage that the parent talk to the camper because that usually can exacerbate it a little bit more. Um,
Right.
but for the most part, by Monday afternoon, kids are totally fine. And we also have a pretty fantastic email system that we use that's basically like daily communication. So parents can send an email through their platform. We print it out, we deliver it to the campers, and then they respond back and we scan it right to the parents. So daily communication is really helpful. It's crazy. When I was a camper, my mom would
Yeah,
send
that's
faxes. And so that's what I would get when I went to camp. But the email system is a fantastic program that we have, and we find that works really well for both our campers and our parents.
yeah, I'm laughing because when I went to camp, it was letters and postcards.
Yep.
And I can't even imagine that instinct. It's almost instant communication with
Exactly.
home. It must be really reassuring.
Yes, definitely.
So a kid is begging their parents, they want to go to sleepaway camp, so what's the next step for parents? Like, where do they start looking and what should they be looking for?
Yeah, so the American Camp Association is a great starting place. They are basically the governing body of summer camps.
Hmm.
And we've been accredited with them since the day we were founded. And basically, that means that we voluntarily meet about 300 standards each year. And not most, some summer camps aren't ACA accredited. So I would say if I'm a parent looking for a summer camp, I'm going to go to the American Camp Association website and I'm going to hit the Find a Camp tab.
Hmm.
It shows you plethora of summer camps that we've had. You can choose by state, you can choose by type, and that's going to be a really great way to kind of figure it out. There's also just a classic Google search, summer camps near me. You'd
Hmm.
be surprised at how many people find us just by Googling Virginia summer camps and then hitting us and saying, oh, okay, this looks good. So
Hmm.
find a camp that's ACA accredited, that has activities that are interesting to your camper, and that have a good philosophy that you feel comfortable with. Our philosophy is we are many, we are one. And we want parents and campers and staff to know that from the minute they step foot onto Camp Horizons property, they're part of our family and they always will be, and that we're going to accept them no matter who they are or where they come from. So finding a camp that has a philosophy, excuse me, similar to what you believe in is going to be really important because that's just another great way to teach your camper what you want them to know.
Right. And, a lot of families weren't able to go out and tour camps last summer. Is that an important part of the puzzle, actually coming and visiting the camps? Or, because of COVID and different restrictions, is that maybe something that, might not be viable this year? And parents shouldn't sort of rely on those tours to make their
Yeah,
decisions.
that's a good question. I think it really depends on what is on the website and what's available for parents. So
Hmm.
last year in March, when things were starting to close down, we did a virtual open house. So we actually filmed about a 30-minute video of our property and our programs, and it's exactly what you would get if you came for a tour. I feel like a lot of camps kind of went that route as well, and we
Hmm.
found that that's incredibly helpful to do. Um, we are lucky that we are such a large property and that so many things are outside that we are doing in-person open houses, because everything is going to be outdoors. You show
Hmm.
up, you get greeted outside, then you walk around camp. You don't have to be inside for any of it. And I
Yeah.
think that a lot of camps are able to do something like that. But it's really what's important to you and what's on their website. If you're looking at a camp and there's not a lot of pictures of the facilities or the activities, then it might be worth going and seeing, hey, can we come down for an in-person visit? But if their website has tons of things on it and you can really get a good feel for it, then it's kind of more up to you to determine if it's something that you really want to go down in person for.
Hmm. And I guess I'll end our conversation by asking, what do you love about the summer the sleepaway camp experience. It's different than day camp. There are some similarities, but sleepaway camp is its own unique experience. So what's so great about it?
The friendships that you can form in just a short amount of time. It's always remarkable for me to see on closing campfire night, so that last Friday of camp, the friendships that have been formed. And these kids have only known each other for 12 days, but the living together and doing activities and sharing a common space, it really brings you closer than I think you could ever imagine. And I've done day camps before, and you do still get that kind of sense of friendship, but there's nothing really like sharing a space with someone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's just a fantastic experience. I have camp friends from when I was a camper, from my early days as a counselor, that I still talk with, every week.
Hmm.
And it's really great to see our campers continue to do that. And with the change in technology, it's so much easier to stay in touch now, that I'm almost a little jealous that these just they have the chance to
Yeah.
give their number to their friend and say, "Hey, when you get on the bus, text me and I'll have my phone by then." So it's fantastic what sleepaway camps can do. And I think even if, as parents, if you don't think your camper is ready, ask them, because they really might be, and they really might say, "I really want to go to camp. Send me for a week, send me for 2 weeks," because it's not going to be an experience that they would ever regret.
Hmm. Oh, well, that's great. And I so appreciate your time. I'm excited for this summer. I hope you have a great summer
Thank you.
and all your campers do too. Thanks again for talking with us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks so much.
Bye.